At the end of God of War 3, Kratos did not die. This year, he's returned, and it's still the same guy. Not with Greek, but with Norse gods. He now has to bother. He is calmer, wiser, and he's also a father. The name of the son is Atreus. Dad calls him boy. This is GameGround's review. Sit back and enjoy. The first impressions were great, like with the previous games in the franchise. Visually, this game just rocks. I really could not believe my own eyes. It honestly is the best looking video game I have played as of yet. No wonder the fans in my PS4 were making sounds like a jumbo jet. So the graphics are awesome, but by itself that would not be enough. A pretty game is not a good game if the gameplay feels rough. That's certainly not the case here. God of War is super fun to play. It made me love games again. I don't care if that's cliché. Your new main weapon is an axe, and at first it didn't feel precise. Now though, when choosing between it and something else, I do not think twice. The axe grew on me, like that facial hair did on Atreus' dad. Nonetheless, it ain't the only reason the gameplay is so rad. For one thing, the game is a lot more open this time. You will sail, you will solve puzzles, you will climb. It's neither sandbox nor linear. Sorry if I sound like a nerd. In this new God of War, optional is a pretty common word. There are optional areas to explore, optional bosses to fight. Defeating an optional Valkyrie will keep you awake all night. You can finish the game in 20 hours, or it can take you 42. How many optional quests you complete, that is only up to you. It's not an RPG, but an action-adventure in which Kratos is tough. There are many RPG elements, interestingly enough. With XP, you unlock new skills. With silver, you upgrade your gear. Runic attacks are what comes in handy when enemies get near. Atreus ain't no typical kid, playing with toys, sucking his thumb. You can upgrade him as well. A powerful lad he can become. Throughout the journey, he learns languages. He serves you as your translator. His arrows help Kratos a lot. He's much more useful than a screensaver. As for the narrative, around the father and the son this story revolves. It's not really about where they go, but how their relationship evolves. Kratos himself is now much more mature. You will not want the old one back, and all that is made even better by McCrary's excellent soundtrack. I won't provide further details, for going in blind is the best way to go. It is a solid story with plot twists and memorable characters though. Quite a lot has changed since Kratos killed the first God of War, Ares. Thus, let's compare this title with the older games in the series. Like I said earlier, it's more open, with entire areas you can ignore, and the upgrade mechanics are deeper. There are now more menus to explore. What's not too deep is the game's multiplayer, because this time there isn't any. That cannot be said about puzzles. Of those, there are plenty. They are clever, but not difficult. You likely won't get stuck. The game isn't hard overall, unless you really suck. I'm talking about the normal difficulty. On that one, you rarely die. Give me God of War mode, however, will get you raging, Dark Souls style. There are fewer QuickTime events, and thankfully none for opening chests, and sex minigames are gone as well. Kratos has to miss them breasts. In addition, boss fights are fewer in amount, and a bit smaller in scale. That's not bad necessarily, it puts more focus on the tale. Despite all that, the game as a whole is bigger. much bigger, truth be told. I'd say the game's larger than the 3 old ones combined, and that's hella bold. As you see, this God of War is vastly different, not in one, but in multiple ways. On the other hand, the soul of the first trilogy can still be felt nowadays. For instance, in the enemies, wraiths are now Tetzelwarm, they both travel underground. If you're enjoying this review, please tap on the bell and subscribe to GameGround. Anyway, Cyclopes are now ogres. You can take control of them like before, and that is how the soul of the old titles lives on in the new God of War. There are collectibles you can collect. There'll be no DLC. God of War PS4 isn't really perfect, but no game will ever be. It does have issues. The biggest one for me was backtracking. Plus, there are bugs and glitches as well, but none nerve-wracking. All the same, it is one of the best games in its category. Stunning visuals, extraordinary combat, moving story. I doubt we'll get a game this good in 2018 again, and that is why I'm giving it a solid 10 out of 10. Have you played it? If not, I say run to the store, share your thoughts below, and perhaps also share the video. This has been the GameGround review of God of War for the PlayStation 4 by Santa Monica Studio.